Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a truly fascinating and highly detailed regulatory document that maps out the hidden gears of our modern world. Specifically, we're unpacking a text officially titled The First Schedule, See Section 2, CB, List of Industries Involving Hazardous Processes. Now, I know that sounds incredibly technical, and well, it is. But this single document effectively categorizes the intense, volatile, and sometimes completely surprising industrial operations required to just keep human society running. We're going to break down exactly what's on this list and explore what it tells us about the invisible risks baked right into our global economy.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll be decoding the first schedule. Then we'll look at heavy metals and raw energy, followed by the vast chemical web. After that, we'll uncover everyday goods, hidden hazards, and finally, we'll wrap up with the price of progress.
Starting things off with Section 1, decoding the first schedule.
So, at its absolute core, Section 2 CB and the first schedule represent a comprehensive regulatory list. Its sole purpose? Classifying specific industrial operations as, quote, hazardous processes. And the language here is incredibly deliberate and severe. Being on this schedule means an industry is officially recognized as handling materials, creating byproducts, or utilizing methods that cross a very distinct threshold of danger. This isn't just about throwing on a hard hat and some safety goggles. We're talking about fundamentally volatile physics and chemistry here.
And when you take a step back and look at the entire first schedule, you immediately notice the sheer scale of the thing. There are exactly 29 distinct, overarching industries officially classified as hazardous on this list. Think about that for a second. 29 massive sectors of human enterprise, encompassing thousands of individual factories and plants globally, all brought together under this one single umbrella of hazard.
Let's move to Section 2, Heavy Metals and Raw Energy.
Let's see how this builds. Right at the top, items 1, 2, 4, and 5 establish the absolute bedrock of modern infrastructure. We've got ferrous metallurgical industries, which means integrated iron and steel alongside special steels. Then we have non-ferrous metallurgical industries, that's extracting and processing primary metals like zinc, lead, copper, manganese, and aluminum. Add to that the coal industries, covering coal, lignite, and fuel gases, and of course the power-generating industries themselves. These are the absolute titans of industry, dealing every day in extreme heat, immense pressure, and monumental physical scale.
To really grasp the physical reality of these early items, take a look at how item number 3 on the schedule describes foundries. It specifically highlights the processes of castings and forgings, explicitly including cleaning or smoothing/roughening by sand and shot blasting. You can almost hear that abrasive regulatory language, right? It vividly communicates the raw, violent physical force required to actually shape these heavy metals.
Which brings us to Section 3, the vast chemical web. If there's a true center of gravity on this schedule, it's definitely Item 17, Chemical Industries. It is a massive, multi-tiered category encompassing a staggering array of volatile compounds. We're talking coke oven byproducts, industrial gases from nitrogen all the way to ozone, industrial carbon, chromates, electrochemicals like metallic sodium and peroxides, phosphorus, and nitrogenous compounds like cyanides. The breadth and the sheer volume contained just within this single numbered item is truly overwhelming.
And this brilliantly illustrates how one single item on the list actually contains multiple highly dangerous sub-industries sitting side by side. Under the single banner of chemical industries, we find the handling of alkalis and acids right next to halogens and halogenated compounds like chlorine and fluorine, and sitting directly alongside explosives, which explicitly includes industrial explosives, detonators, and fuses. It's a dense, tangled web of highly reactive, corrosive, and explosive materials all grouped into one massive regulatory category.
Branching out from there, we see other highly toxic and flammable processes distinctly itemized. Item 9 covers petroleum industries, meaning oil refining and lubricating oils. Item 10 is the petrochemical industries. Further down, Item 26 highlights the manufacture and handling of benzene. Item 27 calls out operations involving carbon disulfide. And Item 29 wraps up the list with a broad net for highly flammable liquids and gases. Make no mistake, this cluster represents the absolute most chemically unstable and combustible processes on the entire schedule.
Now for Section 4, Everyday Goods, Hidden Hazards.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the stark contrast presented. On one side, Item 24 lists the manufacturer, handling, and processing of asbestos, a material universally recognized for its extreme health hazards. But right beneath it, Item 25 lists the extraction of oils and fats from vegetable and animal sources. It's a fascinating reality check that a seemingly benign process like extracting vegetable oil for cooking requires methods intense enough to sit adjacent to asbestos handling on a hazardous process schedule.
And the list of everyday consumer products built on officially classified hazardous processes just keeps going. Item 6 is pulp and paper. Item 8 covers Portland cement. Item 11 lists drugs and pharmaceutical industries. Item 12 covers fermentation industries, which specifically means distilleries and breweries. Item 15 is leather tanning, and item 22 is glass and ceramics. Think about that. The paper on your desk, your medicine, the glass in your windows, the leather in your shoes, all of them are generated through processes that are strictly regulated for their inherent industrial dangers.
Check out this wild juxtaposition. On one hand, we have industrial explosives and detonators from the intense chemical web of item 17. On the other, we have fermentation industries, distilleries, and breweries from item 12. Yes, everyday local breweries literally share a regulatory hazard schedule with detonator manufacturing. It really goes to show that large-scale biological processing and fermentation carries its own set of critical, highly regulated industrial risks.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, the price of progress.
To build all the conveniences of the modern world, there is an invisible, hazardous footprint required. Items 18 through 21 and item 28 illustrate this perfectly. We have insecticides, fungicides, and herbicides. We have synthetic resin and plastics. We have man-made fiber industries. We have the manufacture and repair of electrical accumulators, which is just a technical way of saying batteries. And we have dyes and dye stuff. From the clothes we wear, to the plastics we use, to the batteries powering our devices, everything relies on these intense, hazardous processes behind the scenes.
So the crucial point is this. The first schedule isn't just some list of fringe, highly dangerous activities happening in a vacuum. It is a literal mirror of modern human consumption. It outlines 29 distinct sectors, spanning from the primary iron forging that builds our skyscrapers, all the way down to the creation of the dyes, paints, and plastics that color our daily lives.
Which leaves us with a final, pretty fascinating thought. The first schedule clearly defines these 29 massive sectors as involving intrinsically hazardous processes. So the next time you turn on a light, pick up a plastic water bottle, or even pour a glass of beer, ask yourself, just how much hidden industrial risk is built directly into the fabric of our daily modern convenience? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.